So, Steelers win the AFC North for the first time in 5 years. And while this game did feel like a vintage Ravens Steelers game for the most part, however, I will say, because for the first like 3 quarters, it actually felt like a real football game. But then the fourth quarter came where both teams just went full-blown DEI, especially both defenses as well as both kickers. So, 2001, we clinched the AFC North. I'm sorry, the AFC Central which is what it was back then, on the Ravens' lawn, and then we would end their season in the playoffs a month later, rolling them over in Pittsburgh, 27-10. 2004, we beat them to clinch the number 1 seed as well as eliminate them from playoff contention. 2008, we beat the Ravens in Baltimore to clinch the AFC North, which as well, the following month, we beat him in the AFC Championship, which we won the Super Bowl off of, to complete a 3-game sweep over them. 2010, after beating them in Baltimore, which played a very key part in us taking the AFC North that year, we would of course beat them in Pittsburgh, coming back from behind to end their season once again. Christmas Day 2016, at home, we beat the Ravens to clinch the AFC North as well as eliminate them from playoff contention. 2017, we beat the Ravens at home in a shootout to clinch the AFC North. Hell, 2021, I'll even throw this one in there. Week 18, this was pending a Colts loss to the Jags, which happened, and needing the Chargers-Raiders to not end in a tie. We beat the Ravens in Baltimore to eliminate them from playoff contention and would later that day clinch a playoff spot. Last night, we faced the Ravens at home in what was basically an artificial playoff game, the AFC North Championship at home. We beat the Ravens to clinch the AFC North as well as eliminate them from playoff contention. So this pattern, it's like we have been either ending their season or clinching the division off of their backs literally since I was born, since 2001. It seems to be a tale as old as time. And now, yes, like I said, while I did like the first 3 quarters of this game, it felt like a real football game, but the fourth quarter, it's like, no, like that is not sustainable for the playoffs. Thanks to the Ravens kicker pulling a Billy Cundiff, missing the field goal, we win an artificial playoff game, and we will now be playing a real playoff game. But yeah, so let's break this game down, right? So, okay, so on opening drive, Derrick Henry runs for a 41-yard run. And of course, part of it got called back because of Zay Flowers. I think it was a personal foul, a legal block, but I don't know. I thought that was a bad call, and then what was it on? I forget if it was 3rd down or 4th down, but then of course Ramsey, who had a shitty game last night, got burnt on that touchdown on the Ravens opening drive. Ravens go up 7-0. And then of course later on Ravens would go up 10-0. And then we would then make it 10-3. And right when we finally start to get something going on offense for once. Okay, I need to address this part. So we're moving down the field, right? And we get the ball at the Ravens' 1 yard line with 2 seconds left in the first half after the Ravens committed DPI in the end zone, which put us at the 1 yard line. So what does this team do? They don't run the Connor Hayward butt push. They don't run it up the middle at all. They don't even try to pass it. What do? They run the ball wide, away from the blockers, leaving Kenneth Gainwell to find a way to juke out several Ravens defenders. That was one of the worst play calls of all fucking time. Of all time. Like, seriously, just because we won this game does not mean that Tomlin's job should be secure. But unfortunately, that's probably what it means, unless, of course, he decides to just randomly walk away, in which there has been some rumors on that. But I don't know if I can believe them. So yeah, we could have tied it at 10 going into halftime, but instead, we choose to run wide on a play where Kenneth Gainwell wasn't even running on the same side where most of the blockers were. Like that was just pure coaching fucking malpractice. Now, yeah, I understand players gotta play with, but at the same time, you also gotta put them in position to make the plays. And we didn't do that at all on the 1 yard line. Right? And then okay. Now, of course, when we get the ball to start the second half, we go down the field, score a touchdown, tie it up at 10. And of course, the D-line, knocks a pass off Lamar. Watt intercepts it, and then, we could have gotten a touchdown there, but we got a field goal at least. So let's stop right there. So we're up 13-10, even though we could have easily been up 20-10 at that very point in the game. But nope, thanks to Tomlin's DEI play call at the 1 yard line right before half. That shit almost killed us. That almost came back to bite us. And now, let's break down one of the most DEI Joe Biden fourth quarters I have ever seen in a fucking football game. Okay, let's break it down. So, what I believe was a third down, Alex Highsmith and another Steelers D lineman, I forget who it was, they're running at Lamar, and they had him dead to rights. It looked like Lamar just had no time to even get rid of it. And yet, despite the fact that those two defenders literally made contact with Lamar, they had him wrapped up, and yet somehow, some fucking way, Lamar gets out of trouble. Okay, so right there, you should have had him right there for a sack. But no, he lobs it deep to Zay Flowers for a touchdown, who was covered by Patrick Queen. Like, why the fuck do we love putting linebackers and edge rushers on wide receivers? Like, why the fuck do we do this shit? Like this dumbass DEI coaching staff. Like, they just do not learn from the same mistakes that they have made for years. And it's one of the many reasons why I have been beating to a dead horse that this team has got to clean fucking house when this season is over. So because of that DEI display on defense there, we're now down 17-13. Well, when again, we could have had at least 20 points right at this very moment. We should have been up 20-17 there. But anyways, no more shoulda, woulda, coulda. So right now we're down 17-13. Then of course, third and long, at one point during our drive. Rodgers hits Pat Freiermuth wide open up the middle. All because the Ravens are so fucking trash. I mean, like, they can't even replace Kyle Hamilton. They just had zero clue on what to do, on how to adjust and try to replace his absence. But yeah, but then of course here's a hilarious part. So so this is where we're having communication issues, and because of communication issues, like, we had to burn all of our timeouts because of it, because this DEI team just doesn't know how to fucking communicate. And of course, this drive from the beginning was literally set up by the Ravens kicking the ball out of bounds in the fucking kickoff. I mean, these DEI displays, I mean, they're just gonna show you how fucking trash both these teams are, you know? Goes to show you how fucking trash both these teams are. Anyway, so we eventually get a touchdown off a wide right run by Gainwell. We go up 20-17. But then Lamar Jackson burns us on the same play to the same guy. Except this time, literally nobody was even on Zay Flowers. Not even a linebacker, as if that ain't bad enough. But yeah, Zay Flowers wide open, nobody even in his vicinity. He just walks in for an easy touchdown. DEI trash. And of course, we get the ball back, so no timeouts. We're down 24-20. So we gotta get down the field quickly, get a touchdown, and then of course, 3rd and 10. Calvin Austin runs it deep to the end zone, and right as he pulls a move, the Ravens defender that was supposed to be covering him did a absolute vintage Joe Biden climbing up the stairs impersonation, trips over himself. Calvin Austin gets wide open for an easy touchdown. And then of course, if that ain't DEI enough for you, Chris Boswell misses the extra point. So instead of being up 27-24, we're only up 26-24. So we gotta hope that our defense doesn't even allow the Ravens in field goal range. Kickoff, Ravens get a great return to where all they need is a first down and they're in field goal range. So yeah, the DEI just continues and continues. And of course, a few plays later, Ravens get into field goal range on a short pass, except of course, a legal formation. And Lamar Jackson begins to shit his pants, putting the Ravens in a 4th and 7. And what did the Ravens do? And what did the Steelers do? Better yet, they allow a completed pass to Isaiah Likely, putting the Ravens in easy field goal range. And right there, the Ravens have us beat. They send out the rookie kicker, but nope. The Ravens had to out-DEI us by shaking the field goal wide right. And that's how the first ever season finale winner-take-all with no outside games to affect it. First ever winner-take-all regular season finale between the two teams ends like that. I know the arcade football fans are probably getting love of that fourth quarter. I ain't. I loved the first 3 quarters, but then DEI had to ruin it in the fourth quarter. Because like the title of the video says, 3 quarters of football, 1 quarter of full-blown DEI. That is the easiest way to summarize this game. It really is. Because I know today's arcade football fans love the high scoring and the shootouts and all that. which is what the fourth quarter of this was. But at the same time, it was like that for pretty much the wrong reasons. I mean, both teams blew coverage on touchdowns. And you see, I'm a little different. You see, I don't like arcade football. I like real football, which is what the first three quarters, or at least most of the first three quarters of this game was. So yeah, we end the Ravens season historically yet again. Something we've been doing for a quarter century, basically. And so with that said, so we host the Houston Texans next week on Monday Night Football. So on one end, it's like we haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. On the other side of things, we haven't lost a Monday Night home game since 1991. So something's got to give. On top of the fact that the Texans are 0-5, I think, in away playoff games. And they haven't beaten us in Pittsburgh since 2002. But yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for our record with Monday Night home games, I would not be. I wouldn't have any reason to even be remotely confident about that game at all. But, anyways, that'll do it for this video. Ravens Steelers AFC North Championship. Won by us, though really it was the Ravens out sucking us. But anyways, I'm out.